Secretary Rubio, welcome back to the committee. Love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you. I'll be brief in my opening statement so we can leave more time for questions. I've submitted a written statement, but I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to talk to you guys for a few minutes. And
Marco Rubio, sanctions
suspend. You know the drill. Off to jail.
That's a war crime.
That's a one-year ban from the committee. Anyone who is a persistent violator will be banned for 3 years. So don't know whether the guy falls in that category. Looks like it. I hope after 3 years he'll find a more productive means of employment. Secretary Rubio, we have 2 hearings a week. You know, you seem to have a more robust following than most of our witnesses that come before us. But anyway,
there'll be a couple more. So thank you for stopping the clock. But I appreciate it.
In the wake of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's capture by the US, lawmakers on Capitol Hill have been divided over the legitimacy of the raid. Addressing Congress, Secretary of State Marco Rubio claims Donald Trump did nothing wrong.
Following the dramatic capture of Venezuela's illegitimate leader, Nicolas Maduro, lawmakers on Capitol Hill have been divided over whether President Trump should have ordered the raid in the first place and if he was obligated to inform Congress ahead of time. There's been several closed-door briefings, but Wednesday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio gave his first public testimony about the mission.
We had a narco-trafficking regime that openly cooperated with the FARC and the ELN and other drug trafficking organizations using their national territory.
Rubio says the U.S. is not at war with Venezuela, nor is it occupying the country. But further military action is not off the table if the interim leader stopped cooperating with the U.S.
There will be impediments and unexpected events along the way. What we have found so far is cooperation, respect, dialogue.
Speaking Tuesday, President Trump was more optimistic.
We are working beautifully with Venezuela. I will tell you, they're going to do better now than they ever did.
But acting President Delcy Rodriguez, Maduro's former second-in-command, insists she's governing without U.S. influence.
The people of Venezuela do not take orders from any external factor. The people of Venezuela have a government, and this government obeys the people.
I'm concerned that we haven't really changed the regime enough and that America's dollars are still going to drug runners.
So far, Rodriguez has released hundreds of political prisoners and has signaled she'll allow U.S. oil companies to access Venezuela's vast reserves.
I want to be clear, and I'll share with you what I've shared publicly. We made multiple attempts to get Maduro to leave voluntarily. He was an impediment to progress. None of the things we're talking about now, not the release of political prisoners, not the transition of the oil industry to a legitimate oil industry, not the erosion of Iranian, Russian, or Chinese influence. None of these things would have been possible as long as Maduro was there. And so this was one option that was available to the president after exhausting every other option to remove this individual from the scene. Again, I'm not here to tell you these are all going to be roses along the way and it's all going to go perfectly. But for the first time in 20 years, we are having serious counter-narcotic talks with Venezuelan authorities about going after narcotics organizations. For the first time in 20 years, we are having serious conversations about eroding and eliminating the Iranian presence, the Chinese influence, the Russian presence as well. In fact, I would tell you that there are many elements there in Venezuela that welcome a return to establishing relations to the United States on multiple fronts. We are at the end talking about a Western country that has a long history of cooperation and work with the United States. At one time, Venezuela, pre-Chavez, was a very strong U.S. ally. And we hope to get back to that point. We're not there. This thing still is in its infancy. But I certainly think a lot of progress has been made in that regard.
Well done, Senator Shaheen.
Thank you. I'm pleased that we are looking at a diplomatic presence in Venezuela. But the DEA has reportedly identified Delcy Rodriguez as a significant actor in the drug trade. Do you agree with that? And if you do, how are we to assure the American people that the money that's going to Venezuela is not going to any of the cartels or drug running?
Yeah, and that, well, first of all, on the first point, I would say she's not indicted the way Maduro and his wife were. So I'm not going to speculate about newspaper articles and what law enforcement is working on. If, in fact, there were such an investigation, I mean, that's something that we would speculate on. Suffice it to say that this was not a normal system. We all should stipulate to that, okay? That regime, as everyone understood, was held together by corruption. The glue that kept people together was not loyalty to Maduro. It was the fact that these 5 guys had 5 separate oil fields that were assigned to them. These people had drug routes.
I understand that.
So that's going to be clear.
I'm not defending the regime. In fact, I'm concerned that we haven't really changed the regime enough and that America's dollars are still going to drug runners and to significant organizations who we don't want to have benefit from the funding that we're selling now of oil and providing to the Venezuelan government.
Look, I acknowledge that we are dealing with, I told you, with individuals that have been involved in things that in our system would not be acceptable, would not be acceptable to us in the long term. By no means is our policy to leave in place something permanent that's as corrupt as you've described. We are in the transition and stabilization phase. We are just acknowledging reality, and that is you have to work with the people that are in charge of the elements of government.
Okay, but
now,
can
what
you
are the
reassure
systems?
People that
so
money
the way
is not going continuing to go to the drug cartels?
Right. So that's the process that I outlined to you. So on the sanctioned oil, the oil that requires U.S. permission to move, that oil, the proceeds of that oil, which, by the way, is being sold at market price, not at the discount Venezuela was being forced to sell, is being deposited into an account that ultimately will become a U.S. Treasury blocked account here in the United States. There is oil that is sanctioned that cannot move from Venezuela because of our quarantine. And the arrangement is this. On the oil that is sanctioned and quarantined, we will allow you to move it to market. We will allow you to move it to market at market prices, not at the discount China was getting. In return, the funds from that will be deposited into an account that we will have oversight over. And you will spend that money for the benefit of the Venezuelan people. Why was that important? Venezuela was running out of storage capacity.